Okay, so we've pulled all the original exhaust off. The extractors, turns out, have got too many bloody holes in it. Neil has been a good boy and he has gone and got me some brand new extractors. So we'll fit those up. But now I'm going to give this little girl her first start with basically straight out extractors. I want to see what she sounds like. There's no way it can sound better than Iron Maiden in the background, but let's see, eh? First start, nice and cold. Beautiful. At least there's no Gaylord exhaust tips hanging off the back. Here's all his thong slapping exhaust system. Still looking pretty good. A bit better look at the interior in this thing. It's quite clean. That needs a bit of a vacuum. I'll tell you what, it's quite nice. Get rid of that piece of shit steering wheel though. Get that a bit more old school. Yeah. Alright, so next step, replace extractors. So here we are with Neil's black hatchback. I was going to say SS, but I mean, it sounds pretty cool. We've patched up the exhaust as best we can without setting it to an exhaust joint, which is a bit loud. It does kind of sound like people are getting killed, and poor old Danny's wiggling his bloody earwax out of his ears. But it looks a little different on this side. Yeah, that's the business. Obviously the center caps are missing, but meh. So here we are, we're back fitting up the extractors. I just thought I'd have a quick look at and show you guys what's going on. As you can see, these extractors are super tight. So in order to do this, I'm going to have to pull the spark plugs out, get those leads out of the way. The passenger side is even worse with that starter motor in the way down there. So we're probably going to have to jack up the motor a little bit. So I've got guard covers laid out everywhere. I've got a couple here. So I'm just going to basically cover every square inch of this car and start pulling it apart. Wheels are going to come off because I'm going to get the bolts and spark plugs out. Although, are we going to be able to see it up in here? Probably not. Ugh, damn it. But rest assured, I can actually get a lot of what I'm chasing from inside these guards here. So, yeah. Let's see how I go. So here we have the old Torana on the hoist, where, well, I am doing the rear axle seal leak. So whilst not really great to see around here, I'll grab a bit of light. Workshop lighting's terrible. We've got a whole bunch of oil that's leaking down and around at the base of the axle seal, but as you can see, there's been a fair bit of work done to this vehicle. You can see that the wheel cylinders are brand new, the shoes are new, the front brakes are okay. It's got brand new Petters reds front and back all the way around, the old exhaust hanger. This thing has no exhaust on it at the moment, but over here we've got the original core spline axle. Yeah, has big fat core spline in it. So, and this is the seal we're going to change here. But to change that seal, we're going to pull the bearing and the collar off. So I'm basically going to use my big old fat chrome chiz and going to smack that until it goes oval, slide her off, press the new bearing off, and I've got a brand new Timken wheel bearing set waiting to go back on. So yeah, that's where we're up to in this big old hatchback beast. Here we have the new wheel bearing assembly all fitted up with a brand new seal, which is got some, you can see the blue grease in there, so that's going to be retained all back this way. And here we've got the tapered roller bearing set, good quality Timken. You don't muck around with rubbish. Now, this is what you call the heavy duty collar. Anytime you're running any sort of power, I would always recommend running the heavy duty collar. You can see the difference between the standard and the heavy duty one. The old Holden 1-tonners started this back in the day, you know, in the early 70s, for all the extra load, all the sheer load that they have, you know, like pushing this way against the load when they're overloaded and whatnot, stop them from floating axles. So, and as you can see, this is just a standard banjo core spline axle, but they use the same bearings. And in fact, it's the same wheel bearing for a lot of your modern stuff too, like Commodores, Falcons, anything with one of those large Borg Warner diffs, and those BTR diffs in the later BAs and stuff. Anything that's live axle, they'll all run that same bearing. Where they change is in the seals. There's a drum brake seal, Commodore disc brake seal is the thickest of all of them, and then there's a Falcon drum brake seal. But you can opt to get this collar with pretty much any of these kits, and I highly recommend them, especially if you're running any sort of power. And make sure to get the cup out as well. So your tapered bearing will sit inside this cup, which is that piece sitting there on top. So I've removed that out of here, and yeah, so that's a pretty important part of the process. So here's Betty, named by the owner. I assume that because at one point in its life it has been in an accident where it rammed a lamb. It's just a 253 Trimatic Auto, as mentioned before. The owner will be coming over to pick it up today, and he's dropping off something else that's a project for me, maybe. We'll see. So all I've really done is get this thing roadworthy for Neil, and she's come out all right in the end. It looks exactly the same as it did last time. We'll muck it around with wheel choices and stuff like that, but in the end, it was just the hot wires. Keep it nice and simple. Don't mess with anything, and keep it old school. The whole exhaust system had to be redone, new extractors, a beautiful twin system underneath, which just looks spectacular. A work of art. The old 2-inch crossover pipe to take away the thong slap. So this thing should sound nice and neat out there on the road. Never mind those two big lines. They did not come from the Torana, although I'm sure it's more than capable, handy capable. Get a better look at the inside. So, whilst they're just, it's been retrimmed, this interior, obviously. It's been done very tastefully in the Torana SS style. very tastefully. Stock dash, original console, T-bar auto. Somebody slammed some gauges up there in the under dash. Big gay if you ask me, but you know, if you'd seen me without my bloody beard, you'd probably say the same thing. And underneath, just a nice stock 253. We've got some brand new extractors happening on her down there. They are. Anybody who's ever done extractors on a Torana will know how horrible a job that is. And we ended up fitting an aftermarket distributor in the Bosch style. We're having a bit of trouble starting this thing at one point, and it's had a few wiring gremlins, but and finished off a few things underneath the bonnet that hadn't been done nicely by previous owners. So this thing should be nice. It should be trouble free for some time until Neil decides to convert it to manual, put in the injected 5 litre into it and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but she's a really, really nice little car to drive. Apart from all that dust. So we'll see what happens in a moment when Neil pops in with his other car that I may well be taking acquisition of. What a cool rig, eh? Hang on a second. What the hell's happened here? I seem to have fallen into some kind of time matrix where Torana has changed shape, colour and driveline. Well, this was Neil's other Torana. He dropped off to pick up for his hatchback, which looks like I'm taking acquisition of. Fix it up into maybe an SLR 5000 replica or something like that. You know, do what everybody else does, why not? But this little beast is not terrible. She's got some rust, don't get me wrong. Around the back, rear quarters, typically in the boot floor, but the sills are quite good. A-pills are quite good. There's a little bit in the roof up around here, but you know, we'll see how bad that turns out. But you can see it's got these horrible pox rims on it. Yeah, and sure, it does have a Peter Brock autograph sticker. That is a 100% authentic Peter Brock decal, no carpet. But she's running SS seats. They're bolted in quite well. It's got the SLR dash, which has all been rebuilt. Still got a 3 on the tree steering column from original. Doors all open and close quite well. But the exciting bit for this car, what makes this thing stand out a little bit from the rest, is what she's got hiding under the bonnet. Okay, so beauty, neutral. Whoa, V8. Give her a quick stab. Wonder what that is. So this thing's been on the road for like, I don't know, 15, 20 years or so like this. So obviously that's a fuel injected 5 litre. She's all plumbed up and running. And you'll see the front brakes. It's got Commodore brakes on the front, Commodore disc brakes on the rear, which explains those poxy rims. It's running a T5, so this car basically had a complete VNSS transfer, engine T5, and she's running a Ford 9-inch diff, 3.0 to 1 LSD, and all brand new Commodore brakes all round. and new master cylinder, and it's got a VT roller motor in it. The original VNSS motor was a bit, well, shit, so nearly swapped it out. So this is the roller cam VT 5 litre, so much smoother running motor. Awesome pod filter, that should give me at least 20 horsepower. That's just got extractors, a brand new exhaust system, 2¼ inch twin with the Chevy dumpers. Neil brought this car to me just over a year ago to get roadworthy. Bought it sight unseen up in New South Wales. And needless to say, this is a really fun little car to drive. So yeah, be interested to see what I can pull out of this. What I would like to do ultimately is narrow the track on this thing, get back to old school wheel setup on it, and get that fat look. But unfortunately, the rear calipers almost foul on the rear shockers, so I can't really take the back in too much further. Like 20mm aside is not enough unless I do some serious modifications in the back. Go back to drum brakes. I can go in 100mm and get some real fat rims on the back, but I don't know. We'll see. But this is certainly going to be a lot of fun trying. Watch this space. Don't watch that face. Speak to you soon.